Hi, I'm Claudia St. I'm the president of Affinity HR Group. We are your HR partner and resource. I was in a conversation recently with a pretty small business, maybe 50 employees, 45 to 50 employees, and we got to the topic of the Great Resignation, something everybody likes to talk about, something that is continuing to this day. With this tight labor market, we still see employees quitting by the millions every single month. So we got into this conversation about retention rates versus turnover rates. And when I was talking with this fellow, he said, our turnover rate really isn't bad. We only lost 4 employees over the last year. So we have a pretty healthy turnover rate. And I said, well, yeah, okay, it's still 4 out of 50 is still a pretty high turnover rate, but okay, but what's your retention rate? And he didn't really have an answer for me. And it's very important for all employers to really get a handle on this information. And it's a very simple calculation. The turnover rate is simply the number of employees that leave your company out of the total number of employees that are in your company. And that will give you an estimated ratio of how many people quit. But what that doesn't show is how many people are still there after a year, and versus how many people moved in and moved out, came in and came out. And that will give you a greater depth of assessment of how stable your workforce is, where the volatility is in your organization, not just who's leaving at that moment in time, but who's staying and why are they staying, and where they're leaving, why are they leaving? And if they leave, and if you've had 1, 2, or 3 people cycle into that same role over time, that will give you an idea that perhaps that role is creating some challenges. Maybe that role or that supervisor or that location are worthy of your attention. If we're not looking at the data, we're going by our guts. And especially if we're in a remote workforce, it may be hard for us to get a sense of really what's happening boots on the ground in our workplaces. So I would encourage you not only to look at calculating turnover, and if you aren't doing it yet, I strongly encourage you to look at employee turnover and look at it by division, by location, by supervisor, by product, by whatever division you can look at it by, but also take a look at that retention rate. And when you put those two together, you might come up with a really interesting picture of what's happening in your workplace. And hopefully it will give you some clues and some guidance on how to avoid turnover, how to avoid the Great Resignation, how to avoid quiet quitting, and all the lovely things that we see happening all the time in the workplace of 2023. So sorry to end that on a depressing note, but of course we're here to help. Just reach out to us at hello@Affinity HR Group. Reach out to me, Claudia, at affinityhrgroup.com. Of course, we're here to help. We have a $139 a month subscription program that helps us answer all of your people-related questions, all employee handbooks, things of that sort. It's a great program. We keep hearing it's a no-brainer, and we'd love to hear that. We hope you think so too. Check it out at affinityhrgroup.com. And of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Reach out to us if you want any help with calculating your employee turnover or your employee retention rates. And of course, in the meantime, we hope you have a safe and productive work week. Take care.